live. This is Dr. Kevin Christie with Health Fit TV. We are with Waddick of Evolution Fitness today, and we're going to really discuss low back pain prevention and fitness and dive into a few things, including weight loss, mobility, warm-ups, group fitness, and having that team camaraderie. And we're really going to try to provide as much value for you we can in about 10 to 15 minutes. So without further ado, this is Wade. I really appreciate your time today. Introduce yourself a little bit to our audience and we'll go from there.
Thanks for having me. Wade Waddick, owner and creator of Evolution Fitness. My background consists of basically growing up and living in a gym from the time that I guess I really started getting into magazines. I was reading Muscle and Fitness and Ironman, and that transitioned into every single sport possible: basketball, baseball, boxing, track, soccer, martial arts, and basically live season to season, from doing all various types of training on to being fortunate enough to play college basketball. From there I went to the United States Marine Corps, which was very into physical fitness, and got my first certification, started working at Bally's, and through the years of being an advocate for education, constantly studying and taking different exams, all the way to I have a level 1 Pilates certification, not that I use it or practice it, but always looking to step out of my comfort zone and do different things. Worked at Bally's, worked at a couple other gyms, and opened Evolution Fitness in 2009, and here we are in 2017.
Yeah, I opened up in Boca in 2010, and right out of the gates I heard a lot about what you guys were doing, and had a lot of runners and athletes and general population that was part of your fitness. And obviously we were both pretty young at it as far as owning our own businesses and doing it, and I just heard a lot of positive things, and it was always intrigued me on what you were doing. And I know you and I have talked a lot, we talked a little bit before this about some of the things that you've seen when it pertains to musculoskeletal in general, like injuries in general, but we're going to focus kind of targeted on back stuff today. So what are the things that you guys do at Evolution Fitness to try to help people either prevent the low back pain, deal with it, and manage it because they've just come off it, or they're having it currently, or it's a red flag they had in their previous history? What are some of the stuff that you're looking to do with them to help?
One of the things we always talk about, like in our staff meetings, is stimulate, not annihilate.
Nice.
Because
I like that.
To be a great trainer does not mean that you just annihilate and flatten people, and people can't move or walk for 10 days. Like that's not being a fitness professional. So we also talk about oftentimes people that come to us have not been doing anything for 1, 2, 3, 4 decades or ever in their entire life. So one of the first things we talk about before we even get to the back pain is the fact that it could have taken them years of courage to walk through that door. It's our job as fitness professionals to welcome them and make them feel welcome and invite them into an atmosphere that's going to be conducive and productive for them to get the type of results they want. We live in South Florida. Most people don't say, I'm here to get off my blood pressure medication. They want to look good. LGN, right? Look great naked.
Yes,
so
that's a common one.
That's always a big motivator, but yeah, so they oftentimes they've been sedentary. They're typically carrying some extra weight, and they have some back issues, either back issue, shoulder, knee, but we're talking mostly about back. If the back issues seem to be something that's really affecting them, then we highly recommend they work one-on-one with a personal trainer, where we can do an assessment and work with them specifically versus being out and doing the group. We kind of talked a little bit earlier about the group setting.
Yep.
I feel like because of the track and field background, our warm-up is designed to kind of turn on the body through all the movement patterns. So just doing our 8 to 12 minute warm-up, the body's really turned on, and people just from a functional standpoint become healthier just from doing this 8 to 12 minute warm-up. We go through all the progressions, we move into more of a dynamic movement to where they're up and they're really moving, but we're doing everything the human body's designed to do.
That's big, in the warm-up, it implements a lot of the prehab stuff, and I know that we were talking about that, and just for you out there, prehab is, and the warm-ups are designed, a lot of times they are mobility and stability type drills and exercises that you would see a lot of times in the rehab setting, but it's usually because you're injured and you're trying to get better. But there's no reason why you can't do those beforehand. And if you're going to do a fitness program, you really want to make sure that your warm-up is strategic in that sense to help prevent it. And I know that's one of your keys of preventing injury is a proper warm-up. And you've been doing that for many years and making sure that no matter what level you're at, there's a warm-up that's part of the workout. It's vital to not only performing well during your workout, but also obviously preventing the injuries. And so can you just give us a couple examples of some of the warm-ups that you're doing with your clientele?
Absolutely. So we'll typically start with like a body weight squat. Everyone can squat, even though some people will come in and say, my doctor told me that I should not squat. But we all know just for Kevin and I to get on these chairs, we have to squat down and we'll have to squat up to get off of it. So we start with some squats and then we'll move into either a push-up with a downward facing dog, because we do tie in a little bit of yoga.
Perfect.
And then we'll start with predominantly static stuff.
Yeah.
And then we'll start to move into some moving stuff, so just some knee hugs and start to open up the hips where we're doing some rotational stuff. But we spend a solid 8 to 12 minutes warming up.
Perfect.
And like we were discussing before on take one.
Yeah. I'll bring that up later on in the show.
I feel like the industry, about 10, 12 years ago really moved into that prehab type. And then it really kind of struck a chord with me because I was like, man, we used to spend a lot of time warming up for a track and field event, and that could only be a 20-second event, but you're spending 30, 45 minutes for an event that is 15 seconds long.
Yeah.
But you don't get injured, and you perform at a high level. I feel I'm going to be 42 here next week. I feel like in the moment, I'm where I was 25 years ago.
Yeah.
It just takes a lot longer to warm up
Yeah.
and a lot longer to recover.
Yeah, no, it's no doubt about it. That's just the fact of life for sure. But the warm-up is vital to anything, any activity you're doing, whether you're playing golf or you're doing a fitness program, and you just really got to make sure you're doing that warm-up. It's one of the biggest keys to injury prevention for sure. And I know that I work a lot with runners, and you get a lot of the same runners that I work with. And I'm just going to utilize them as an example. You can apply this to golf, you can apply this to doing other just single track fitness or other sports. A lot of times there's this misconception that your sport, say running for this example, will train the right muscles to help you run properly and to prevent injury. Well, it's actually the opposite. You end up feeding that dysfunction. So if your glutes aren't working, by running only, you're actually going to overuse the hamstrings and the low back, and the glutes are not going to pick up the slack for you. You're not going to be trained properly, and you're going to end up with injury. That's why I always recommend some kind of cross training for my runners. And I know that's you. A lot of the runners have taken me up on it or have taken other advice from people to do that, because you're getting a lot of those folks that they have a goal in mind, whether like you're running a marathon, but you're not just running. I know you got a couple hours of running ahead of you today, but you're also doing some fitness to supplement that. So tell us a little bit about that key aspect of preventing injury.
Absolutely. We've had a lot of people come to us that were just runners, and typically runners don't like to do, like you're saying, they don't like to do anything else. I don't want to be sore. All they need to do is run. And we've had a lot of people come to us, and we've actually gotten their spouses to come join the gym too, because they saw their significant others start running less, but doing some cross training and running faster 5K times, 10K times, half marathon times, without having to just run. And it's because if you're just training that same movement pattern over and over and over again, just like you said, you're going to feed the dysfunction, as opposed to strengthening some of the stuff that's probably imbalanced. And the legs make up a lot of different muscles, and if you're just running, you're just kind of hitting the same ones over and over again, and it's not going to help you get faster or as fast as you could be.
Yeah, so it's the key that cross training, getting into the fitness, is going to increase your performance, which is obviously everybody's goal, but it's also going to decrease the likelihood of injury, which is very important. So that's another key aspect of fitness and preventing a low back pain, is having that cross training to supplement whatever activities or sports you're doing, whether, like you said, if it's just the yoga person just wants to only do yoga, that's not necessarily the best idea, or the runner or the golfer, whatever it may be, not a good idea. So take that into consideration and make sure that you're adding fitness into your routine. Your back and everything else will be a lot stronger for it, and you put a lot less stress on your body. So that's definitely something.
Especially if you're running shorter distance and you never train your upper body, that last 100, 200 meters of a race, someone that probably does some upper body training is going to be able to take you down because they're going to be able to use their arms a lot more effectively. It's going to help pull the legs. And that's just one small example that makes a difference from doing cross training versus just always running.
Absolutely. Okay, let's segue a little bit. I know, like, I follow you on social media a lot. You guys have a great community, a great social media presence, and I've seen some of the success stories. But let us know about, you don't have to name names, but some of the success stories you've had in this. We're going to go towards the weight issue. We have issues in this country. We know that. There's a study that came out that I think a quarter of the population is obese, not just overweight, but obese, and they're dealing with that. There's a lot of negative musculoskeletal effects on the knees, on the hips, on the back when you're dealing with that. And so one great injury prevention aspect of fitness is just actually losing weight and getting in better fitness level. Having less body weight is going to put less stress on the joints. So is there a handful of success stories you've seen over the years of that type of situation where someone's come to you, shed a lot of weight, and overall just decrease a lot of their injuries?
Absolutely. We've been open almost 9 years, and we've had, like I said, our demographic is 30 to 55 working professional.
Okay.
We have some hybrid, semi-professional athletes, some high school athletes, some collegiate athletes, but that's not really our bread and butter. So a lot of the people that come to us are, a working professional, a spouse, 2-3 kids. They just want to come to a place where it's going to be safe, fun, effective, and something that's going to keep them coming back, and that's really a big part of it. And some of the people that have come to us have absolutely added and increased their lifespan, probably 1 or if not even 2 decades, especially when I'm thinking about a certain couple individuals that have really made some radical changes, and they look completely different. It's amazing to me that actually more of their friends aren't like, what are you doing? But maybe it's because they say, well, I go to the gym every morning at 5:30 in the morning. I can't do that. So I don't know, but yeah, we've had a lot of people come to us that have made some. Actually, half of our staff were former members. So they either come to us and say, you know what, I got bit by the bug. You guys changed my life. I want to help other people change their life. And so most of our staff is made up of former clients and former gym members that we used to send to a couple different schools. Now we send them to Axiom and Joe Drake and Allen. And they become certified and fitness professionals. They get to help other people make those changes. But I love the fact that we are able to do it through fitness, and then we also have a couple programs where we tie in the nutrition and accountability component. And then, like we were talking earlier, it's if you go to a place that does group, it is so different than just going to a big box club. And that's because of the camaraderie of the community, and I know all our members text one another about going, and sometimes we all need to push. I mean, myself included, we're human beings. There's not every day I get up, I want to do 1 million pull-ups and push-ups and run. I don't even want to run after this interview, but I'm going to do it because I have to. But it's good to have that camaraderie and have people motivate one another.
Yeah, and the accountability level that you guys have as a team is just huge, and that's sometimes how you're going to make the changes. It's like where you got to get to, like your goal. They're going to help you with the specifics of getting to that goal, but also with the accountability. And sometimes that's the missing ingredient. I know people that know all this stuff, like they know it cold. They have the education in fitness, and yet they don't do it because no one's holding them accountable. And that group fitness component is huge in doing that accountability, which is going to help you in the long run prevent a lot of these injuries from occurring.
Absolutely, and we were kind of talking about before, even if your body doesn't necessarily change weight-wise, but you're just being more active, you're going to be a healthier human.
Yes. Just
by moving more, and all the little nervous systems that get stimulated will have an effect on your lifespan. So even if you still continue to eat and drink some of the stuff that's put the weight there, moving is going to help at least allow you to live a healthier lifestyle in that regard. But if you want to see weight loss, and we know that comes through tying in the nutrition component.
Yeah, because you guys do some of the nutrition and stuff like that, so there's obviously, it's multifaceted to lose some weight. But the overall key point, the key takeaway is that fitness can help reduce weight loss, or can increase weight loss, which can decrease the stress on your body and obviously reduce injuries. So that's definitely a key concept to have. And kind of lastly, I want to just make sure people are aware of it as well, is like everybody does have different goals, and even if you have the perfect fitness, the perfect body, your rest and recovery is great, all the different things out there that you can do to decrease injury, you still could have injury. We see it on two ends of the spectrum, the inactive and the very active. And the very active can still get injury, but the biggest difference is your overall health is great. Like your heart is good, your cardiovascular is good, you're gonna live longer, all the, obviously the internal things, fights depression, like all the positives that there is. And so you have to take that into consideration. But the thing I see from a clinical standpoint is when person A comes in that's deconditioned and has back pain, and then person B who is highly conditioned and has back pain just because they work hard or they work out very hard. This person that's healthy and fit, they heal so much quicker, the recovery time is less, the chance of reoccurrence is much less. The person that's deconditioned has a lot of yo-yo effect where it's back pain and we get rid of it, then it's back pain and we get rid of it, and it's just like, and their function in life is decreased significantly. And so I don't want you to think that you can ever be immune to overuse injuries or sports injuries or musculoskeletal pain and back pain, but you can highly, highly decrease the chances of it, and your recovery time will go through the roof and be a lot better. So take that in consideration, especially if you sit at a living for a desk. Obviously we discussed the desk worker a lot, to where even if you're super fit and you're super active outside of work, if you're sitting a lot, you have to take care of your body outside of the fitness. So what are some of the things, lastly, to wrap it up, that you recommend the person that's coming to you and is dedicated to the 5:30 a.m. class, but what do you also recommend them to do outside of spending time with you guys?
Yeah, like we were discussing earlier, it's one of the things that we've been talking a lot with our members is a lot of you guys come every day, 1 hour a day, 7 days a week, or sometimes they're coming back and doing multiples. And so we're essentially kind of training like professional athletes, but when we leave here, we don't have access, or like you said earlier, time to do all the things that professional athletes do. We don't have access to all the therapists right next door, and ice baths and massage therapists. So we've been trying to encourage them to do things like foam roll, because you could do that on your own, and also go get massaged and seek out some therapists that could help enhance what you're doing in the gym, because it all kind of ties together. And we can't just come here and just beat down, because you're going to end up breaking down, and that's not good.
Well, that was good. You know, that's the last key takeaway, is to make sure that you're keeping up with your body outside of the gym and doing proper things to really keep your health overall. And obviously eating healthy is a big part of that. So on the first take, we had a little bit of a snafu, but we made it through it. Facebook Live can be a little bit glitchy, but I think we're okay on this one. And I really appreciate your time. I know you have a 2-hour run to get to. So before we let you go, how can they get a hold of you? You can definitely put some comments and questions if you have on the thread. But how can they get a hold of you if they want to try a fitness class or they have any questions regarding what you offer?
Absolutely. We invite anyone to come in and do a 1-week free trial. You can go to our website, evolutionfitnessboca.com, and see the full class schedule. You can also read about some of the other types of programs that we offer here, because we do offer a multitude of different things. We specialize in one-on-one and group fitness, but there are a couple other programs that we offer on there. And we want you to come in and try a week and see if you enjoy the energy, the atmosphere. Any questions, the phone number's on there. Feel free to give us a shout. We're here to help. And that's kind of, I think, where we left off on the first take was the beauty of being in the fitness industry in Boca is that not only are there a lot of great clubs, but it's a great community, great network, and we all have great relationships with one another, and because we're all committed to helping others, and I think that's really special.
Perfect. Thank you. Thanks for the time. Appreciate it.